Imagine waking up tomorrow with a mind that nothing can shake. While everyone else is complaining, panicking, and blaming the world, you remain calm, focused, and in control. That's the difference between ordinary thinking and the mindset of a winner. Stay until the end because one Stoic principle in this video could completely change the way you face every challenge in your life. Before we begin, subscribe to Stoic Ascension, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below saying, "I choose discipline." That single decision could be the beginning of a stronger version of yourself. Now, let's begin. Most people believe winners are born with talent, intelligence, or luck. The Stoics completely rejected that idea. They believed greatness begins in the mind long before it appears in the world. Every victory starts as a thought, every habit begins with a decision, and every great life is built one choice at a time. Imagine two young men who apply for the same job. Both are rejected. One spends the evening complaining that life is unfair. He blames the economy, the interviewer, and even his family. The other quietly goes home, studies his mistakes, improves his skills, and applies again the next week. Months later, the second man gets a better opportunity. From the outside, people call him lucky. They never saw the thoughts that created his success. A winner never asks, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple question transforms every obstacle into a lesson. The Stoics understood something that most people never realize. You cannot always control what happens, but you can always control your response. The moment you master your response, you begin to master your life. Think about a captain sailing through a violent storm. He cannot command the wind to stop. He cannot order the waves to disappear. But he can adjust his sails, hold the wheel firmly, and keep moving toward the destination. Winners think exactly like that captain. They don't waste energy fighting reality. They use reality to become stronger. Every morning gives you a choice. You can complain about your circumstances, or you can use them to build your character. Winners choose character every single time. Another way winners think is that they understand pain is not their enemy. Comfort is. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations. They avoid hard work. They avoid rejection. They avoid failure. But every time they avoid discomfort, they also avoid growth. Picture a young athlete waking up before sunrise while everyone else is sleeping. His muscles ache from yesterday's training. His bed feels warm and comfortable. Every excuse tells him to stay under the blanket. Instead, he gets up, puts on his shoes, and starts running in the cold morning air. Years later, people admire his success without ever seeing the thousands of mornings when he chose discipline over comfort. That is how winners think. They know today's pain often becomes tomorrow's strength. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort because they wanted to prepare themselves for life's challenges. They believed if you can willingly face small hardships, you become fearless when bigger hardships arrive. Instead of fearing difficult moments, welcome them. Every challenge is another opportunity to sharpen your mind. Winners also refuse to become prisoners of other people's opinions. Many people never chase their dreams because they fear criticism. They spend years trying to impress people who are too busy worrying about their own lives. Imagine a young woman who dreams of starting her own business. Friends laugh at her idea. Family members tell her to get a safer job. Neighbors whisper that she's wasting her time. She listens respectfully but follows her purpose anyway. Years later, the same people who doubted her begin asking for advice. If she had obeyed their opinions, her dream would have died before it ever had the chance to grow. The Stoics taught that your value does not depend on applause. Your worth comes from your character, not from public approval. Winners understand this deeply. They don't need everyone to believe in them because they already believe in themselves. This mindset creates an incredible kind of freedom. When you stop living for approval, you finally begin living according to your values. The next time someone criticizes you unfairly, don't waste hours trying to defend yourself. Ask one simple question. Is it true? If it is true, improve. If it is false, ignore it. Either way, you keep moving forward. That is how winners protect their peace while everyone else wastes energy fighting opinions. The strongest mind is not the loudest. It is the one that remains calm while the world around it becomes chaotic. One of the greatest differences between winners and everyone else is that winners never allow emotions to become their master. Most people make decisions when they are angry, excited, jealous, or afraid. Later, when the emotion fades, they regret what they said or did. A winner understands that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of emotional decisions can last for years. Imagine a businessman who receives an insulting email from a competitor. His first instinct is to fire back with an even harsher response. His fingers hover over the keyboard. Then he stops. He closes his laptop, goes for a walk, and returns an hour later. By then, his anger has disappeared. Instead of creating an unnecessary war, he replies with professionalism and moves on. That one moment of self-control protects his reputation and his peace of mind. That is how winners think. The Stoics believe that strength is measured not by how loudly you react, but by how wisely you respond. When you control your emotions, you control your future. Another habit of winners is that they stop comparing themselves to other people. Comparison is a thief that quietly steals confidence. Every time you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel, you forget your own progress. Picture two trees planted on the same day. One grows quickly because it receives more sunlight. The other grows slowly because it stands in the shade. If the smaller tree spent its time wishing it were taller, it would never develop its own deep roots. Years later, a powerful storm arrives. The taller tree snaps because its roots are shallow. The slower-growing tree survives because its roots reach deep into the ground. Growth has its own timing. Winners understand they are not competing with everyone else. They are competing with the person they were yesterday. Every small improvement matters. Read one more page. Lift one more weight. Take one more step. Learn one more skill. Tiny victories repeated every day become extraordinary results. Winners also know that excuses are expensive. Every excuse feels comfortable today, but tomorrow it demands a heavy price. A young man dreamed of becoming a writer. Every evening he promised himself he would begin tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Years passed, and the only thing that grew was his regret. Another man had the same dream. He wrote just one page every day. Some days the words flowed easily. Other days every sentence felt impossible. He kept writing anyway. Eventually, one page became one chapter became one book, and one book changed his life. Success rarely comes from giant moments. It comes from refusing to quit ordinary days. That is how winners think. They know consistency beats intensity. Anyone can feel motivated for a day. Few people remain disciplined for years. The Stoics never waited for motivation. They relied on discipline because discipline never depends on feelings. Whether you feel confident or insecure. Whether you feel energetic or tired. Whether people support you or criticize you. You still do what needs to be done. That is real freedom. Another powerful lesson is that winners expect obstacles instead of being surprised by them. Most people create a perfect picture of the future. When problems appear, they become discouraged. Winners expect difficulties before they arrive. Imagine a mountain climber preparing for a dangerous journey. He packs extra food, warm clothes, ropes, and emergency supplies. He doesn't hope the mountain will be easy. He prepares because he knows it won't be. Life works the same way. Relationships will test you. Business will test you. Your health may test you. Your patience will be tested. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening?" a winner asks, "How do I grow from this?" Every obstacle becomes another training session for the mind. That is why Stoics seemed calm even during chaos. They weren't lucky. They were prepared. Preparation creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. And results create the life most people only dream about. There is one truth that separates winners from everyone else, and most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid it. Winners fall. They fail. They lose. But they never allow failure to become their identity. Most people experience one setback and immediately begin telling themselves a story. They say, "Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't for me." Those thoughts slowly become beliefs, and those beliefs become a prison. A Stoic refuses to live inside that prison. Imagine a young blacksmith learning his craft. The first sword he makes is crooked. The second one breaks in half. The third is too heavy to hold. If he judged himself by those early failures, he would quit before mastering his skill. Instead, he studies every mistake. Years later, people admire the beautiful swords hanging in his workshop. They never see the pile of broken metal that taught him how to succeed. That is how winners think. Every mistake contains a lesson. Every lesson creates wisdom. Every piece of wisdom builds a stronger character. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Another way winners think is that they guard their time like it is their greatest treasure. Because it is. Money lost can be earned again. Opportunities lost may return. But 1 hour wasted is gone forever. Picture two friends finishing work at the same time every evening. One spends the next 5 hours scrolling endlessly through his phone, watching other people live their dreams. The other reads books, exercises, learns a valuable skill, and reflects on his day. 5 years later, their lives look completely different. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It was how they invested the hours everyone receives equally. The Stoics often reminded themselves that life is short. Not to create fear, but to create urgency. When you remember your time is limited, you stop wasting it trying to impress people who don't matter. You stop postponing your goals. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. Because winners know the perfect moment rarely arrives. They create it. Another powerful habit of winners is choosing discipline over desire. Your desires will constantly change. One day you'll feel motivated. The next day you'll feel tired. One day you'll feel confident. The next day you'll doubt yourself. If your actions depend on your feelings, your life will always be inconsistent. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't wake up every morning asking if he feels like watering his crops. He waters them anyway. He knows the harvest depends on consistent action, not temporary emotion. Your dreams work exactly the same way. The work you do today may not show results tomorrow. Or next week. Sometimes not even next year. But if you remain disciplined, the harvest always comes. That is why winners trust the process even when they cannot yet see the reward. The Stoics believe that excellence is not one great action. It is many small actions repeated with intention. Every disciplined choice becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Winners also understand the power of silence. They don't announce every goal. They don't argue with every critic. They don't waste energy proving themselves. Imagine an eagle flying high above a noisy forest. Below, smaller birds chirp endlessly, fighting over tiny branches. The eagle doesn't fly down to argue. It stays focused on the sky. That is how winners protect their energy. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Sometimes your greatest answer is your progress. Let your actions speak so loudly that your words become unnecessary. People may doubt you today. They may laugh at your discipline. They may question your vision. Keep working. One day, your results will answer every question they ever asked. Remember this. A winner is not someone who never struggles. A winner is someone who refuses to surrender to struggle. Strength is built in difficult moments. Character is revealed when nobody is watching. Greatness grows quietly before the world ever notices it. If this message has inspired you, write in the comments. My mind is my greatest weapon. Read those words every day until they become part of who you are. Expect life to become easier. Expect yourself to become stronger. That is the promise of Stoicism. The world will still test you. People will still misunderstand you. Some plans will fail. Some relationships will end. Some days will feel heavier than others. But your strength will no longer depend on what happens around you. It will come from what exists within you. Imagine an old oak tree standing alone in an open field. Every year storms crash against it. Fierce winds bend its branches. Rain soaks its roots. Lightning strikes nearby. Yet season after season, it remains standing. Why? Because its roots grow deeper every time the storm arrives. Your struggles can do the same for you. Every disappointment can deepen your patience. Every rejection can strengthen your confidence. Every failure can sharpen your wisdom. If you choose to learn instead of complain. That is how winners think. They stop asking life to remove the storm. They become the person who can stand in it. Another secret of winners is that they understand happiness does not come after success. It comes during the journey. Many people tell themselves, I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll be happy when people respect me. I'll be happy when I achieve my goals. The Stoics saw through this illusion. If you cannot appreciate today's progress, tomorrow's success will never satisfy you. Imagine a craftsman building a beautiful table by hand. He doesn't rush to finish it just so he can admire it. He enjoys each cut of the wood. Each careful measurement. Each polished edge. His satisfaction comes from doing the work well. Not simply from reaching the end. Winners think the same way. They find purpose in effort. They find pride in discipline. They find peace in knowing they gave their best. And because of that, they become unstoppable. Never forget this. Someone will always be richer than you. Someone will always be stronger. Someone will always be more talented. But nobody can outperform a person who refuses to quit. Persistence defeats talent when talent refuses to work. Discipline defeats motivation when motivation disappears. Patience defeats panic when challenges appear. This is the mindset that built great leaders, great athletes, great entrepreneurs, and great men and women throughout history. Not a mindset of comfort. Not a mindset of excuses. But a mindset of responsibility. Every morning, look in the mirror and ask yourself one question. What kind of person am I becoming today? Not. What will I achieve? Not. How much money will I make? But. What kind of character will I build? Because achievements can be taken away. Character cannot. The Stoics believed your greatest possession is not your wealth. Not your status. Not your reputation. It is your ability to choose virtue, courage, wisdom, discipline, and self-control regardless of your circumstances. That is the thinking of a true winner. As you leave this video, remember these words. Stay calm when others panic. Stay disciplined when others quit. Stay humble when others boast. Stay focused when others become distracted. Stay kind without becoming weak. Stay strong without becoming cruel. And never allow temporary pain to make you abandon a permanent purpose. If you truly believe that your greatest victory begins in your mind, type "winner's mindset" in the comments below. Share this video with someone who is ready to stop making excuses and start mastering their life. And if you want more powerful lessons on Stoicism, discipline, resilience, and mental strength, subscribe to Stoic Ascension and join a community dedicated to becoming wiser, stronger, and impossible to break. Until next time, remember. A winner is not defined by what they conquer in the world. A winner is defined by what they conquer within themselves.